All right, Devin. So to start off, just go through what schools you went to.
Well, do you want me to start from like the beginning of time, or you want me to start like at high school?
How many schools have you been to?
Like 5.
Really? Go through them all,
Alright,
yes.
so I started my schooling career at the school called Manzanita, which doesn't even exist anymore. It was in Southern California where I was born.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then from there I went to 2 other elementary schools. One in Woodland Hills was called Woodland Hills Elementary, and then I went to Cypress to finish out my elementary school. Then for all of my middle school years I went to this school called Sequoia, which was pretty cool, and then I wound up going to Newbury Park High for a year, which is where I used to live before I transferred here my sophomore year.
Right. You moved from California your sophomore year, right?
Yeah, I moved the summer of my freshman year here.
Yeah, because I forget about that, because, I mean, you've embedded yourself so much here.
Yeah, a lot of people think that I started here, like even most of my coaches when I played sports and stuff all thought that I was a freshman here.
Really?
Because I mean, I get along with a lot of people and stuff, and they all think that, they just know me like that. Like, they were all friends with me since middle school and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you say that California was any better, or?
Well, it's got some give and take. I think that this school, I personally liked here more just because I've been able to make so many good friends here.
Right.
And I personally think that those relationships are better than the ones I had in Newbury Park just because, they're more recent and I'll always have those friends, but these friends I think are just better. I think the people here are just better in general.
So your group of friends, our group of friends, I guess,
yeah.
Have done a lot.
Oh, yeah, to say the least. Yeah, we've done a lot. Had some good endeavors.
So, I mean, this isn't my interview, so I'm not going to tell any stories, but you should. I would encourage you to just share with us what was a time, what is a story that you have...
well, between our group of friends?
Just any, really.
Well, for instance, our group of friends, I remember one time we kind of went on a little escapade over to the sugar mill, which was always fun, and then we would hang out there, and we actually wound up, one of these times I wound up getting caught on the fence, getting over it, because I was a little distracted to say the least, and that was fun. I wound up ripping my pants, actually. It was pretty funny, but I mean, I remember doing that. I remember one time we went on the catwalk, and to get to the catwalk you have to go through a little hole. You get on the catwalk. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. And to do that, we would try to climb the fence, and one time, you know Rowan, right? Yeah. Well, one time I almost slipped, and he basically saved my life. So that was pretty fun,
So how far of a drop is it?
I would say probably 20 feet.
And nothing.
There's nothing there, dude. It's probably more like a 40-foot drop just to your death. It's pretty terrible. So to say the least, I don't do that anymore. But for the time, it was fun. Right. And then some other stuff Tim and Tito. One time, I was hanging out with them, and we were just kind of hanging out. I went over to his house one of the first times I was going to hang out with them, and I was with Tim, Tito, and Austin, and at the time Tito was dating Anna, so this was probably our junior year, and it was the middle of the day. There's a stop sign right where his cul-de-sac ends, and Anna was driving down because we were coming over right after she had come over, and me, Austin, and Tim decided it'd be pretty funny if we jumped onto her tailgate, and so we go to jump in the back of her car. And Tim and Austin get in successfully, and then I jump onto the tailgate, and as I'm about to go, she guns it. And so as I'm mid-air, she guns it. I grab onto the tailgate, and then I'm like, yeah, this is gonna happen. So I let go. I try to run it out, and so I get about 4 feet. Then I hit the ground. It just bounced. It was pretty funny. So I hit the ground. I bounce. I scraped my shoulder up pretty bad. My chin was all messed up. My hands. It was pretty fun though. I've done some pretty crazy stuff like that, I guess. And then I think later that night, we wound up having to try and get on Tito's roof to get back into the house. Cause we had taken a little bit of a break for being there. We had gone to hang out with some other people, and we come back to get on top of the roof, and we're a little, to say the least, and we go get on the roof, and Tim's deathly afraid of heights, I think, so he's not very good at climbing. So it took us about 10 minutes to coax him up onto even try to get on the roof, and it turns out he's a climber, which is a little weird for him to be afraid of heights. And he managed to get up there, so we get him up, I help him up, and then I go to get up, and it's probably 10 or 15 feet to the top of his roof, And I go to jump, and I grab onto his hand, but there's not enough force for me to pull him up, so I fall, and so we wanted to bring a trash can, trying to climb on that, So we made a bit of a ruckus, to say the least.
You seem to be the accident prone.
I wouldn't say I'm
part of
accident
the
prone,
group.
just so much that I make the worst decisions out of the group, and so sometimes things happen. But I mean, I guess I'm more of the risk taker, so and I'm not, I'm a little clumsy, so things like that happen. But
what was a time when you kind of thought to yourself, this isn't happening, where there was no way, you can't even believe how you got out of it? Do you have anything like that?
well, one time I was at a party, and the police decided to show up.
Whose party?
I think her name's Anna. She goes to our school. I forget what her last name is though.
Which Anna?
She's like blonde, a little short.
Anna Plank?
Yeah, Anna Plank. I think it was Anna Plank. So I'm at Anna Plank's party. Sorry, Anna Plank, if we're doing that. Just so you know. Anyway, so we were at her party. It was me and Rhythm, and me and Rhythm went over. It was probably like 10 o'clock, and we were there until like 1. We were just hanging out. We were playing some water pong. It was pretty fun. Just hanging out, and the police knock on the door, and they're like starting to surround the house. So everybody shuts off, like dead silent, and the police are knocking on the door. They're like, come answer the door. If you don't answer the door, we're gonna come in. And Grant, this happened my senior year, so he graduated last year. He's there, and he's like, nobody answer the door. They can't come in. And they're like, we're all freaking out, and we closed all the blinds so that way they can't see in, because if they can see in, they got, there's stuff that they can see that they have probable cause to enter. And so we're sitting there, God, it must have been like 30 minutes that me and Rhythm were just sitting there, just praying that they don't come in. And they leave for like a few minutes, like, to see if they can coax us out, and everybody just runs out of the house. I mean, everybody. There had to be at least 40 people there. We all run out of the house, jump in our cars, like, and then me and Rhythm are driving. We had just dropped off Josh Air. So we just dropped off Josh Air at his house. He lives like down the street from her. And there's a police cruiser that comes by, and me and Rhythm are driving. And I wasn't quite 18 yet, so we're both not able to be out at like 1 a.m. And so I see the cop car coming. He stops at the stop sign, and I realize I don't have a stop sign. What by me? But I stop anyways and like pull over to the side. And I'm like, oh wait, like I shouldn't be stopping. Like, what am I doing? And so I just pull off real quick, and I see him. He makes his left turn. He looks me right in the eyes. I look at him, and he just kind of nods at me and drives off. I drive through. I must have drove so fast home. Like, I'm surprised he didn't pull me over for speeding or something like that. But yeah, that's probably one of the closest instances where I was like, damn, I'm surprised I even got out of that. Like, I'm surprised I didn't get caught that night or whatever.
What about something that gets retold over and over again? Where every time you guys get together, somehow, in some way or another, this story will come up.
Oh, I don't know. I know I have stories like that, but they're not so much involving me, so much as they're involving, like, I was there, but...
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Even if you're just present.
Let me just think of like some stories that could have happened. Well, one time when I was with one of my friends, it must have been, I think it was with Rowan and Nick Mazzetta. You know Nick Mazzetta? Mm-hmm. So I must have been with them. I think a couple other people were there. I think maybe Tito was there, and we went to a Sonic, and we were a little excited. We were just hanging out. We got into the Sonic. It must have been like 1 a.m. and we were, Rowan has subs in the back of his car, so we're blasting, the subs and everything. Is a lot of fun. And, so we order our food, and God, time was passing real slow then. So we're just, I don't know why time was passing slow for us, but we were just waiting. It must have felt like at least 20 minutes that we were sitting there waiting for food, but it was probably more like 5. Anyways, so I was like on my phone, taking like on Instagram or whatever, mm-hmm. And I looked back in the back of the car, and Rowan decided that he wanted to be next to his sub, so he's laying there next to his subs, just listening to the bass. Literally, I mean, his ear is almost on the subwoofer, and we're blasting music, and I'm just dying there laughing. He's like basically cuddling his sub. I died laughing. I must died laughing. It's kind of one of those things we just gotta be there, but it was so funny. And our food comes, and the guy comes, and he's still back there, and Rowan has to pay. So I'm like trying to get Rowan. He can't hear. Like, I'm surprised he didn't make his ears bleed from it. And he goes to pay, and the guy's like, why are you sitting back there, like, just listening to his subs? And then he's just, like, gets out of the car, he comes out because he has to open the trunk, gets out, pays for his food, and the guy just kind of, like, looks at us, and he's like, damn, I wish I was with you guys. It was so funny. It was one of the greatest things that probably happened then. But that was pretty fun.
What do you guys usually do when you're not in school?
Well, most of the time when I'm with Rowan or whatever, we'll go and fish and stuff like that, and that's always fun. And then when I'm with my other group of friends, who's like Rhythm and Donato, because I kind of have like two groups of friends a little bit. We'll play basketball, or we'll just like, hang out, play some 2K. That's pretty much all. That's pretty much my high school career in a nutshell there. But
you play basketball, but you're a lot like me, where, I mean, you play basketball, but
not necessarily like the best at it.
Yeah, but
yeah.
So, I guess kind of what is that like to play basketball and not really?
Well, I would say like sorry for cutting you off there, but
you're fine. Go for it.
But I mean, I wouldn't say like, I guess you're probably gonna say like, what's it like, not being the best at it. Yeah. But I mean, it's all right. I think it's like more of a life experience than anything, because what you realize is that even though you're not like necessarily good at the sport, like people still, like you think people judge you on that. Like for instance, when I was playing basketball when I first moved here, like I was nowhere near the best, but that's how I made a lot of my friends. For instance, like Rhythm, like Andrew Rapp, kids like that. Like lost my friends. A lot of my friends are like that. When I played basketball, they were my friends. And now, like, especially when I didn't make the team this year, I thought, well, shit, like, all my friends, they all play ball, so what am I going to do? Like, are they going to still be my friends? Those kind of things. And what you learn is that people don't necessarily judge you on your skills like that, more as they judge you on your personality. And so I think that's kind of what I learned from that. And I learned that a lot of people are your friends just because they like being with you, not so much that they like what you do.
Did you go into the season thinking you would play on varsity, or were you kind of?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, I played like a little bit before that. Like I played some summer ball with them and stuff, but I hadn't like necessarily played a lot. So I was thinking like, I had a chance, and I put a lot of time in, but I was just like, I was ready for if I didn't make it, like, it's gonna be all right. Like it is what it is.
And then why stick with it?
Well, because I really like it. Like I love playing basketball, and I still do now. I just don't play for a team anymore. I go to rec center, those kind of things. I love playing it, and I probably always will. Like, because let's face it, like a lot of us, even after high school, like let's say most of those kids who make varsity, I mean they're done after this year. Like especially us seniors, like we're pretty much all done. So we're gonna be, that's like the end of a life. Like it's a big deal, and when those things end, like you're stuck playing rec center ball like the rest of us, and don't think that you're gonna be washed up like that, but. Not to say that they're all washed up, but that's kind of how it is. And, we just play for fun at that point. There's not that competitiveness where it's like, damn, if I don't win this game, like, we're not going to make the state. Or if we don't win this game, like, the team across the town is going to be making fun of us the rest of the year. Like, those kind of things, It's like our state rivalries, those kind of things.
Mm-hmm. What would you say has been the most memorable moment in high school? Not necessarily, and it can be one of these, not necessarily outside of school, like not when you're hanging out with your friends and something crazy
inside
happened.
of school?
But yeah, like something that happened inside of school that's something you'll never forget. And this it could be something as simple as just something that happened in class. It could be something that happened like during one of our assemblies or when the whole grade was.
Well, I think I got two.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so, well, for one, let's start with the winter prep rally, and our Cole goes up, and we're all they announce the winter captains. Cole goes up and he says, all the winter captains saying about their sports, and Cole just goes, "I'm Cole," and that's all. That's all he says. That was pretty funny. And then they're all talking. He comes back and he's like, "Yeah, man, I love sports. Like I don't play them, but I love them. They're super fun, all that stuff." And I thought that was pretty funny. That's probably something that'll stick with me for a while. The other one's when he pulled the fire alarm. That was pretty funny. We didn't let him get away for that one for a while. But our other one is when I'm trying to think of it. I had it. Damn. It was like, Alex. So Alex raps. So,
Alex Rapp?
Alex raps.
Oh, Alex Rapp. Okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you know how he raps. Well, he decided that in Euro, which we take the class, he wanted to rap one of our presentations.
Oh, yeah.
And that was pretty funny, man. I don't remember how it goes, but I'll just remember.
Yeah, I was in that group. Yeah.
That he had the guts to go and do that. Like that was pretty funny, man. That's what I love about high school is kids doing that kind of stuff.
Do you have a moment like that outside of school?
Where it takes like major guts.
Or that, and also
like just gonna stick with me forever.
Yeah, like you'll never forget that happened.
When I caught my first fish, because I haven't been fishing for a long time, so Rowan kind of turned me on to it, right? Mm-hmm. And so me and him were hanging out. We were just chilling, knocking back some drinks, hanging out. It was pretty fun, drinking some cokes. It was fun. And we're fishing, and I got my line, sitting on the ground, and it's kind of like in the ground a little bit. And Rowan's line's over there, and then we got 2 other lines going, so we got 4 lines going at this lake. And we're just hanging out, and out of nowhere, my line just hits the ground. Like, I mean, it was a pretty big fish. So it hits the ground real hard. I'm like me and Rowan are like stunned because we haven't caught anything all day. So we're just hanging out, and we're like, oh man, like Deven, you got a fish. I was like, what? I was like, Austin's there too. He's like, Deven got a fish. I go to grab it. I'm like reeling it in. It's like the first time I've ever done this, so I'm like trying to figure it out, like trying to reel it in. I bring it in. It was like a fish like this big. I was real disappointed. I was like, damn, this is gonna be a big fish, like fighting me and stuff. I was like going real hard, and it's like a fish this big. It's like a cool rainbow trout, but it must have been only like 4 I was so hurt. It weighed like 5 pounds. I was like, that felt way heavier in the water. We're all laughing and stuff. It was pretty funny. But yeah, that's probably something that'll stick with me forever. It's like things like that where my first experience with something.
What would you say was your most defining moment
in high school?
As a high schooler, yeah.
Ooh, that's a deep question.
Saved it for the end.
Of course you did. Most defining moment as a high school student. Probably when I first came here, and I like tried to make friends. Like that really defined me as a human being, at least to myself. Because at first, when I first came here, like it was one of the first times I was like ate lunch alone, those kind of things, and I was like to myself, I was like, wow, I never thought I'd be here, and so I was trying to make friends and all that, and I kind of learned how to make friends again, and I think that kind of defined me as a person. That kind of changed my whole attitude about life and those kind of things. But I also would say like same with not making the team, like those kind of things just define me as a human being and to myself. When you don't make the team, you decide, well, I'm gonna pick myself back up and try again at something else, because it's not gonna stick with you forever.
So
I hope I answered that right.
Oh no, that was
I don't know, man.
No, that was great. That was great. Don't worry about it. To close out, what would you say is the most important part about high school?
Oh, just having fun, man. Honestly, I tell this to both my brothers. They're both gonna be. One of them's in high school already, and the other one's about to be. Like, just have fun with yourself, man. Like, you're gonna have a whole life to not be happy, I guess. Like, just have fun in high school, because after this, you got responsibilities for the rest of your life. That's how it is. So, that was my goal when I came into high school, especially coming here. Just have fun, enjoy yourself. Like, that doesn't mean, just don't do your homework and those kind of things. Like, you still have to do that, but, try to have as much fun as you can, Go to parties, don't do all the extracurriculars. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Those kind of things.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you, Deven.
Yeah, thank you, man.